There's the beginning of the key. We can see that. There we go, a little better. The key works. Tighten it down. I want to get it on so you guys can really see the keyway on this one. These front pins are really close to the edge of the keyway, so it makes it a little bit tricky because when you put the tensioner in, you're kind of hitting those first pins no matter what. It seems like you're just hitting them with the tension wrench, and so because you have to pick them, it kind of gets in the way. So sometimes you lose this tensioner, but we're going to try to keep it all together by just holding on to it a little bit. All right, and then I'm using top of keyway, tension, and I'm going to be using my monkey paw, of course. With these ones I found, really, I think it's because the springs are pretty much non-existent. Like they're not springy at all, and I feel like that's why these locks do this. You just go through and really just pick all the way to the end of, like, if it's a serration pin, you just pick the whole thing. Then you go to the next pin, which is usually pin 2, and you pick that one all the way picked, and then pin 3, you pick it to the end and right on down the line. And you will notice too that if the next pin doesn't bind, it's because you missed something on one of the one before that. So I can't get number 3 to bind, so I went back to number 2 and got another click. So let's see, there's another one. Okay, and then 3 just automatically binds. Like, it's very strange. And then 4, yeah, I don't know what happened because I don't think I picked 5 and 6, so but it's picked. I'm gonna gut it so you guys can see exactly what's in here, in the springs I was talking about, because these springs are pretty, they're just not springy at all. They're pretty, like, non-existent. So now these ones, there's a screw right down in here that, let's see if I can get it focused. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little screw in there that you just have to unscrew. Sometimes these have Loctite on them, so you can't get them out of there, and it doesn't want to unscrew the whole, you can't get it started. The best thing to do if that happens is you just put your your screwdriver in, and you take a hammer or something and just hit that, and give it a, not like that, I tapped it, but you want to hit it pretty good, and that'll get that Loctite out and loosen it up for you. It should. That's actually, I had a Lockwood lock that I wanted to gut, and I couldn't do it, and that was why, because there was a screw on there that had a lot of Loctite on it, and I couldn't get it apart. Okay, so with this core, in the back of it, you'll see there's this gap. Let me try to focus in a little bit. There's like a little gap here. When you turn the key for this one to begin taking this out, you want to turn it so that this is facing your driver pins. You do not want this side to be facing your driver pins, because then even if you shim it, you're still going to get this core is going to bind up, because that gap is in there, and it's not, well, I have to take the sorry about that, I have to take the clip off. Forgot that part. That's my worst part too. So take the key back out. Yeah, there's a little clip right here. These are just like the American locks with these clips, and they're just super hard to get off for some reason. Well, for me they are. I think other people get them off with no problem. I actually watched the videos. It took somebody longer to get the clip off than it did to pick the whole entire lock. So these things are ridiculous sometimes. And I think maybe one of these will work on it. If I can find the edge. Here we go. All right. Wow, I got it. Okay, so now you're going to take your key. You're going to put it in. And like I said, you're going to turn this so that little, that part is facing your driver pins. Then you want to shim it. Shim right in there and find, you want to find the one that's going to be closest to the size. Make sure you keep track of your key, which way your key pins are going to come out, because you don't want to lose them when you're pushing this through. Okay, and you take your key out very gently so you don't lose those. And let's see, pin 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now for these guys. So these springs are pretty much non-existent. I feel like this lock would be harder if the springs were a little bit tougher. Okay, now that's the back of the lock. So that is just a regular standard pin. There's nothing special about it. There's a serrated pin. A spool pin. Another spool. Pin 1's a spool. Now when I was picking these, none of these felt like spools at all. I had no false sets. I didn't feel any spool pins at all when I was picking these. So like I said, I think it has to do with the spring just not, not doing its job. If I can get this to focus in here, well, you can't really see, but the springs just aren't doing anything, and they're barely even sticking up out of the holes. So they're not really doing much work in there. So, but alright guys, stay tuned. I'm going to let you know how to enter for a chance to win this other Mako 425 that I have. Let me pull these pins up so you guys can have a look at them real quick. What's in there? These key pins are backwards, but all the key pins also have serrations on them. Well, most of them. Most of them have serrations, which I actually turn around like this. There you go. Sorry about that. Yeah, there you have it. The Mako 425.